Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel and I want to welcome you to the Back to School Crafty video series. This is day 7. My friend Christine Meyer invited me and Laura Whitaker to take part in this video hop this week, and today's our day. We are up. So for my back to school layout, I'm going to show you how to do a quick photo template that can make a nice photo collage very quickly and easily in Photoshop, and then we're gonna do a process video putting this layout together with some stamping. Okay, so to start in Photoshop, you're gonna open up an 8.5 by 11 document and create some squares or rectangles, whichever you like, in different layers on your document. Then I'm going to click on one of the layers and then click on File, Place Embed. I'm going to find the photo that I want to place there, and I'm going to click on it and then click Place. You're going to see it's going to be behind most of the squares except for the one layer that we're working on. I'm going to hit Shift and minimize the photo to where it's just slightly larger than the square. You don't want to see any of the black. You want to be able to cover up the entire square. And then I'm going to click Enter or Return. Next, I'm going to go click on Layer and then create Clipping Mask, and then that's going to clip it into that square, and then I can move it around within the square. So I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to click on the layer, then click Place Embed, click on the photo and click Place, and then again you'll see it's behind most of the squares except for that second one, which is the layer we're working on. I'm going to hold Shift and make it smaller so that it stays the same formation on all sides. Make sure it's a little bit larger than my square, and then click Return or Enter, then click Layer and create Clipping Mask, and then move the photo around within the square. I'm going to go through and do the rest of those off camera. You can see that I only have 6 photos, so I'm going to delete these 3 squares down at the bottom, and you can save that template to make lots of other collages in the future. So I printed out my collage in color and black and white, and I wanted to take a look at my pattern papers that I was going to be using, and I'm going to be using this older Jillibean soup collection. It's called Alphabet Soup 2. And it's got some really bright colors, so I thought that the color photos were actually perfect for this. So I'm going to stick with the color collage and maybe save the black and white collage for another project. I'm going to trim this down. I'm going to keep all the photos together, so I'm going to keep the margin at the bottom to be the same as the margin in the middle there. And you can see that it's really easy to line up on this small guillotine trimmer. It's a Tim Holtz Tonic Studios trimmer. So again, I'm going to keep that same size margin on the sides as well. If all the margins are the same, that's going to be really pleasing to the eye and make it look like an official collage. So there's my photo collage. Now I have a 12 by 12 piece of white cardstock, and I am going to be bringing in some of these Jillibean soup papers, and I really like this rainbow alphabet paper, but it's super busy, so I was just trying to figure out how to work it in and still have the main focus be on the photos. So I cut down the UPC strip at the bottom there, and I thought I was going to have sort of the papers flush to the side and then the photo collage a little off to the right, but I then look at some ways to sort of mount or base the photos, and I decided to have everything be centralized. So I have a piece of that blue paper and then a slightly larger piece of the red script paper, and I think that that really helps ground the photo collage, and the red especially is such a nice pop, but it really kind of keeps the focus on the center where the photos are. Now I'm going to do some stamping, and I did a lot of stamping in the last Stash Bash video where we were focusing on stamping. And in that one, I said flip the cardstock over and stamp on the smooth side of the cardstock. And I didn't do that here, and you know what? It's okay. I still like the very textured look to it. But if you're curious about my other tips of stamping on layouts, I'm going to link to that video here up in the right-hand corner. Okay, so the stamps that I'm using are called the Ink Blotter stamp set. It's from Poppy Stamps. I really like this. I was thinking about doing spritzes of ink or swipes of paint, but sometimes I get nervous, especially when I'm doing a very structured layout like this one is, where everything's very linear. I get worried when I start bringing in uncontrolled aspects like paint or spray or mist. So this is a way to get a very artistic look on your page without having to worry about ruining a piece of cardstock, which is not the end of the world. Of course, you could totally spritz away on a piece of white cardstock and not like it and then try it again on another one. But this gave me peace of mind that I knew I was doing something very controlled and easy. And also I could get in the entire rainbow of colors. So I'm using those Thermoweb Gina K ink cubes again. I really love these. And I have an entire rainbow of colors except for the purple. So I'm just going to make a couple of what looks like paint swipes in the upper right and the lower left hand corner. And I decided that upper right needed a few more coming off the page. So I'm just going to grab a piece of computer paper and stamp off the page onto that as well to protect my work surface. So I'm going to grab the blue again, and then I'm going to grab the green again. And it's really great. This stamp set has different shapes of paint swatches, and it's really fun to add. Now you can take a look at the dye ink that I'm using. You can see that when it dries, it does lighten quite a bit. So when I first stamped it, I was like, oh my goodness, it's so dark, but it does dry. So I'm going to start adhering everything down with the Thermoweb Memory Runner XL, and I'm just going to really just center everything up. Like I said, this is a very linear page other than some of the stamping and other things that we're going to add to it later. So I'm going to lay down that very busy alphabet page right in the center, and you can see those fun stamped paint swatches off to the side. And then I'm gonna the photo collage on the pattern paper is gonna go slightly off center, just a little bit lower than center on the alphabet page. And now I'm gonna bring in some of the Peapod parts, which are the die cuts, and some of the coordinating stickers from this collection. And I'm gonna put one of the stickers right in the middle of my photo collage. I definitely love using photos on stickers. Sometimes it's scary because if you don't like it, then you can't really pull it up without ruining the photo, but I printed this photo myself, so if I really didn't like it, I could print another one. I'm using the Ranger Multimedia Matte Adhesive for the back of the die cuts, and I have a thin applicator tip on top of that is a Derice applicator, and I'll link to all these supplies down below. But the reason that I'm using that for behind the die cuts is because if some of it squishes out the side, it'll be a matte finish, and so you won't be able to see it. And applying adhesive to the back of those really thin outline star die cuts is much easier with that fine applicator tip. So once I have all my die cuts adhered down, I decide that I want to print out some journaling strips and put them to the right hand side of the photo there. And I'm just using a palette knife just to pick up the very side of the photo collage so I can slip the strips, just the left hand edges of them, right under that photo collage. And I'm leaving just a tiny margin in between each strip just because I like the look of the color in between them. But I like the fact that they are underneath the photo collage just a little bit on the left hand side there. I think it kind of just keeps everything tied together. So I'm using the Thermoweb Memory Runner XL, which is just a tape runner, to adhere down those journaling strips. So once that's done, I decide I have a couple of more stickers that I want to add just here and there, a couple of I'm trying to make some visual triangles so you can see the dark blue in the fore, the two cool for school. So they have the little dark blue heart there, and then some yellow in a triangle. And then I decide that that little spot of white in between the pattern paper and the stamping, I want to cover up with another dark blue, that star there. But I want to pop it up. So I'm going to take my EK Success powder tool and I'm going to rub the powder all over the back of the sticker until there is no more adhesive, or until it's not sticky anymore. And the great thing about that is then you can add some dimensional adhesive. So I'm going to add the Thermoweb 3D Zots. I'm just going to add one behind that star there, and then I'm going to pop that up right there. I'm going to do the same exact thing in the top right hand corner there. I'm going to take the EK Success powder tool one more time, This tool is very handy for heat embossing to make sure that the embossing powder only sticks where you want it, but it's also great for this purpose to take the adhesive off the back of a sticker so that then you can add dimensional adhesive and make it a dimensional embellishment. So once I've done that, I'm going to take a look at a couple of small die cuts again, and I have that push pin there, and what I want to do is pop up the handle of the push pin and have the pin itself flat. So I'm going to take one of those three-dimensional Zots, the 3D Zots, and I'm going to take some non-stick scissors and cut off a piece and just lay that piece of the adhesive behind the actual pin. So I kind of messed it up there, but once I get it down, then you can see that it's tilted so that the pin is three-dimensional and popped up, and the pin itself is flat, and then the handle is popped up and three-dimensional. And I think I like this pencil up above those journaling strips, but this one I'm just going to do flat, so I'm going to use the tape runner for that. So I'm just adding in little bits here and there. This was a really fun layout to put together, both because of the stamping and the photo collage makes it really easy to have a really clean look for your photos. So I hope that was helpful to see how I make my photo collages. And then again, just remember that this hop has been going on all week, and Christine Meyer has a huge giveaway on her YouTube channel, so I'm going to link to her as well. And thank you so much for stopping by today. If you're interested in the supplies that I use, just look down below. They will all be linked. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and that anybody who has kids going back to school has a very smooth back to school transition. Thanks again. Have a great day.